Hello, hello, hello. This is Adrienne Obey, Capricorntigress of Astrology, a look inside, coming to you with the astrological aspects and horoscope for the sign of Aries for the month of June of 2019. Now, let me just make sure I got everything on here right. What did I do with that new moon? Hold on. Lord. You know what, you guys? I have been like this all month long. It has just been one thing after another. And that is because we're about to have a new moon in coming up on the 3rd, right? In Gemini. And that new moon is going to affect a lot of people the way I feel like I'm being affected right now, because the new moon is going to be on the 3rd. And then we'll have the full moon coming up. I think it's on the 17th, if I'm not mistaken. So what I'm doing right now is, again, I had forgotten to put them into this particular one. Full moon at 25. Okay. On the 17th. Okay, there we go. Jupiter retrograding there. Okay. So Aries, this is what I want to tell you. And I really should be a bit in bed. It's 1:21. And I debated whether or not I was going to do the reading, because I'm like, do I want to do the reading in the blonde here? But I was blonde a day on on Facebook. And I thought, okay, I was blonde on Facebook. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be blonde and do this for a couple of signs. And so I decided on which sign it was, and I decided it was Aries and Libra. And so for you, Aries and Libra, I'm blonde. Okay, so here's the information I want to tell you, Aries. Let me just look at this chart, because I'll be honest, I'm really behind, aren't I? I'm really behind on the readings this month. So I do apologize to everyone for that. I'm going, I'm just catching up as much as I can. And the thing is, I've been extremely busy, so which is great. I'm glad that things are picking up. I've been doing a lot of free mini readings at the Facebook group, and also doing a lot of paid readings. So let's get right to this, Aries. I don't want to hold you up, because I know Aries like to do things and get things going. And if you're one of my friends over on Facebook, I thank you so much for being in our group and participating in all that we do. It's been so much fun. And a lot of people don't know, but I'm a dancing astrologer over on Facebook. So just know I do. Okay, so Aries, there's been a lot of emphasis for you guys in your career. You know that, because Saturn and Pluto have been retrograding up there in the 10th house. And, we've got Jupiter retrograding up in the 9th house area. So your career, things like education, travel, maybe even travel that has to do with your career, long distance travel even. But legal things, that's going to come into play during the month, especially at the full moon on the 17th. And you may, for some reason, experience that. Also, Jupiter's been retrograding in your 9th house area as well. But go back to that Capricorn, that Saturn. Saturn in the 10th house is a once. Well, I've been talking to a lot of people lately who have been going through this Saturn in the 10th house experience. I mean, I've gone through it. I know what it's like. I know what it feels like. I know the frustration and the desire you have to get ahead and to reach your goals. And really, if you're someone who's put in the time and effort and energy to master what it is that you do, well, Saturn transiting the 10th house is called the pinnacle. And it only happens every 28 years. It's a very serious thing when it happens. So I hope that you people who are vibrating to this Aries rising, who have the Capricorn up in the 10th house, which is Saturn and Pluto retrograding up there, really pay special attention to the lessons that Saturn is teaching you, because that's what Saturn does. Saturn does one of two things, and you're going to know how well you've done up the last 28 years of your life based on the experience that you have with Saturn. Okay, so if your experience right now with Saturn is that your career is blossoming, like this might be the most attention you've ever gotten in your career. Whatever you do is suddenly public, or your boss notices, or other people at your job or work notice that you're working hard, and you're working hard in a career, in a job, but you feel like you're working towards something that's concrete, specific, and like it's achievable. It's not in the realm of fantasy. It's a reality, and it can be achieved. If you're vibrating in that way, then you're living out, I think, the best vibration of having Saturn and Pluto in the 10th house, because you're working toward the goal, you're putting forth the effort, and therefore you have the potential of getting the reward. The biggest mistake that most people with Saturn in the 10th house make is that it gets incredibly hard, right? It gets hard in the 10th house, in the career. And so, and for some people, they've never even experienced difficulty in a career. So it's a bit of a shock in the first place, right? All of a sudden, you're having trouble making money in this area, or you have to work extra hard, or extra long hours, or you might become the boss, right, during this time. So there's a lot of things that might happen, and it kind of changes the dynamics of how you do things with your career, how you see things, how you operate. You're definitely going to have to put in the work in order to get back the reward. So now conversely, if you're somebody who's having a really hard time right now financially, and your career is tanking, and you're having trouble with your superiors, or you're a boss and you're having trouble with your subordinates even, then there's something going amok with the Saturn there. And that is affecting across the board a lot of people that have this Aries first house set up. And so, because, okay, there's a lot going on. If you do have Aries rising, wow, reach out to me, do a private reading. But you guys have Chiron in the first house. That's the wounded healer. There's something going on about the body, the persona, the actual physical self that's physically changing. Many of you Aries are physically changing. You're physically healing your body. I know several Aries who have made actual physical changes, and you can actually physically see the changes that they're going through, whether it's a good or positive or a negative. It's not known. Like, I know one Aries who's lost, I think he said, like 19 inches or something on his waist from doing keto. To him, that's a very positive. And so it depends on how it's manifesting. Saturn in the 10th house, it does, that could tend to help you to lose weight too, because it gives the image of being a little leaner. But also that Chiron in the first house in Aries right now, a lot of Aries are healing their persona, healing the personality, healing what's been maybe keeping you from feeling like you're fitting in with others. Aries, a lot of people don't point to Aries as people who sometimes have that issue, because they usually do gravitate toward others pretty well. They're leaders, right? You're leaders. And so with Chiron here, hopefully it's healing for many of you Aries, the ability to become the leader that you're meant to be, and to actually be that leader. Now, another thing that I think is a big deal for people with the Aries setup is that Uranus and Venus are in the second house of money. Lord. I hope you've been stashing away your money, saving up your money. No, don't spend up all the money. Be careful of your money. Protect your money. Hide your money. Hell, if you have to. Excuse my language, but you know what I'm saying. You got Uranus and Venus in the second house of money in Taurus, and that is not all that great. I mean, if you got a handle on your money, yes. If you don't have a handle on your money, no. So keep a good eye on your money. Don't spend too lavishly because you might get sudden money. Hold on, I'm so dry, you guys. You may somehow come across sudden money. Venus is in the second house. It's comfortable. It's not like it's impoverished. It might bring in money. But Uranus is there. So it could be a situation where money comes in and money goes right back out. Or money comes in and then you find out you owe all these creditors. It's one of those kind of situations. So keep a handle on your money. Let's see. But most of the emphasis is going to be in communications, and also the home life is going to be emphasized during the month. So this would be a good time to communicate to others in your home, in your family. And when everything goes into Cancer, Mars is going to go into Cancer. We've got the North Node in Cancer, and then of course the Sun on the 23rd of June is going to go into Cancer, and then all the emphasis is going to be down in the fourth house of the home and the family, and nurturing and caring for each other and feeding each other and that type of thing. So I mean, with Venus in the second house, there just seems to be some emphasis on food. I just keep thinking steak. I just don't know why. Meat, steak, that's coming up. So, the only thing I see, or I think I want to mention, is that when you got Chiron in the first house like that, it might affect, I mean, just as long as it's not affecting your relationship with your significant other, because that could be like it's opposing the seventh house. And so it's like a wound, and hopefully you don't have a partner that's just kind of poking at the wound and like, what's wrong, honey? What's wrong? Poke, 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 Just watch that. And then the communication, like I said, the Sun and Mercury are there in the third house. So be cautious of how you communicate. You got Mars in the fourth house, and that could be that could be a disagreement with a family member. So be aware of it. And just be aware of your own internal issues with the pain or whatever that is, whatever Chiron's brought up for you. Each Aries is different. I mean, only you know what that Aries Chiron has brought to the surface for you. I mean, I can be very honest with you right now. I've got my what is it? My progress sun or my progress ascendant? My progress ascendant is in Aries. And for me, I've always hated doing lives. I'm doing a live right now, but I've always hated doing it. It's just one of those things. I'm one of those people that I'm a tiger. So tigers have a tendency to stumble over things and curse. And, tigers are not very, we're kind of gauche. And so I'm aware of that. And I accept that part of myself. That's why sometimes I go blonde like I am at the moment. But, with Aries, healing that part of myself, coming to grips with that's the part of the Aries progressed in the ascendant, dealing with that ascendant head on. And that's what Chiron in the first house is asking Aries to do. And so each Aries is going to deal with that in their own way. And only you know what that personal issue is for you. Okay. But I think that is going to be an emphasis. It just seems so there, for me. And when I look here. And so I just wanted to bring that to your attention. My final parting words: watch the money, watch the spending, eating and spending with Venus and Uranus in the second house in Taurus. And remember to communicate. Okay. Well, much love and much light to you all. Happy June of 2019. And if you haven't already, be sure to go by astrologylookinside.com and like our page there and our blog. And you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ Astrology A Look Inside, and our free group where I do the free mini readings, right? I do those on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And you can get there by going to facebook.com/groups/Astrology A Look Inside. Okay. Well, much love and much light to you. Okay. Namaste. Have a great June. Bye now.